Howard Manning, co-counsel for plaintiffs as well.
Will you administer the oath, please?
Jackson, would you raise your right hand, please? You swear that the testimony you're about to give in the matter now under consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, what is your occupation?
Entertainer, dancer, singer, songwriter.
How long have you been an entertainer?
Since the age of 5.
Without going into too much detail, could you tell me how you started as an entertainer?
Well, singing around the house, dancing, making noises, sounds, making my own rhythms, making my own music, singing, that type of thing.
Do you remember about how old you were when you started performing professionally?
Oh, maybe 10 years old.
What was the name of the group that you performed with when you first started?
Jackson 5.
Now, who was in the Jackson 5?
Marlon, Tito, Jackie, Jermaine, Randy. Yeah, that's it.
At some point, did you become a solo performer?
Yes.
Do you remember about when that was?
Well, I did solo work before. Songs like Ben, Got to Be There, Rockin' Robin, I Want to Be Where You Are. All these are solo songs while still with the Jackson 5, not meaning I've left the group.
Now, you said one of your professions is a songwriter. When did you start writing songs?
I started writing songs, as young as, let's say, 8 years old, 8 or 9.
Have you had songs that you've written recorded?
Some, yes.
About how many songs that you've written have been released?
Oh boy, I've never counted. Probably over 30, 40.
And again, without going into too much detail, have you ever won any awards?
Lots of awards.
Could you give me some of them?
Well, there's Grammy Awards, there's American Music Awards, there's NAACP Awards, Black Caucus Awards. There's all kinds of awards in my field. Excuse me, I know that kills the microphone man.
The case that you haven't been feeling well the last few days?
Yes, it's very true.
You had some oral surgery.
Yes.
If at any time you're not feeling well or you're uncomfortable, would you let me know and we'll take a break?
I sure will.
Thanks. What was the first song that was released that you wrote, if you recall?
A song called Blues Away on one of the Jacksons' albums.
Do you remember which one it was?
I think the album was called either Going Places or Destiny. I'm not sure.
A solo artist.
Yes.
Can you name them for me, please?
Ben, Got to Be There, Music and Me, there are a couple of others on Motown. I can't think of them right now. Then there's Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad, Dangerous.
Can you recall when the album Off the Wall came out?
70 something, if I'm not positive.
Let's see if I can refresh your recollection. I hope this is a little easier to read. If not, we'll move on again.
'79.
Do you recognize the document that I'm showing you?
Yes.
What is that?
The cover of Off the Wall.
Did you write any of the songs that were included on the album Off the Wall?
Yes.
Which ones?
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And Working Day and Night. And I co-wrote one with another musician called Get on the Floor.
Who is that other musician?
Whose name is, oh boy, I can't think of his name right now.
Well, that's okay. Did the group The Jacksons also do an album called Triumph?
Triumph, yes.
Do you recall when that was?
No.
Let me take a look at this document and see if it... It's okay. See if the document that I'm showing you refreshes your recollection. What is the document that I'm showing you?
For Jackson's, it says Triumph, 1980.
Is that, what is it? Is that the cassette cover?
It's a cassette cover.
Mr. Jackson, did you write any of the songs that appeared on the Triumph album?
Yes.
Which ones?
I co-wrote Can You Feel It with my brothers. That's What You Get for Being Polite with my brother. All Night with my brother. Jack Steele, I think it's called, my brother. I think there are a couple of others. I just can't think of the names right now.
I'd like to turn, Mr. Jackson, to generally how you write songs. Can you tell me what process you go through when you're writing a song, if there is a general process?
Well, the process I go through is songs kind of just come. They create themselves. Like I said before, I'm just the source through which they come. And it's a beautiful thing. It's very spiritual. It's like standing under a tree and letting a leaf fall and trying to catch it. It's that beautiful. And what I do is it comes into my head. I could be walking along, you know, on a road, or I could be sitting on a bench at Disneyland or something, eating peanuts, and there it is, it's in my head. Or I could be in the shower, or I can wake up, like when I did when I wrote We Are the World, and there the song is. It's right in my head, the entire composition, you know. That's how it happens.
Once you have the song in your head, what do you do next to get the song?
I go to a tape recorder and I put the sounds down orally with my mouth, making sounds of how I want the bass or the strings or the drums or each part to go, the way I hear it. Because the key is to get exactly what you're hearing in your head on that tape.
You realize that one of the songs at issue in this lawsuit is a song called The Girl Is Mine? You aware of that?
Yes.
Who wrote The Girl Is Mine?
I wrote The Girl Is Mine.
What album did The Girl Is Mine appear on?
Sorry. That's the, sorry, the Thriller album.
Was it also released as a single?
Yes, the first single off of Thriller.
The lyric, what's The Girl Is Mine about?
It's very simple. It's two guys kind of quarreling over the same girl, which happens. Then, no, she's mine, no, she's mine, she loves me, okay? You know, that type of thing. She always looks at me, that type of thing. And they're just quarreling over the same girl. So that's what it's about.
How'd you get the idea for that, what you just described?
It just came. It just came. Quincy said to me, you know, write a song that you and Paul McCartney can sing together. So, I guess I went to sleep, and when I woke up the next day, there it was, and I ran to the tape recorder, and I started to put down what I heard in my head.
You mentioned Quincy. Who's Quincy?
Quincy Jones is a producer, songwriter. He's a really great guy. He's wonderful. I love him.
Have you worked with him before? When did you first work with Quincy Jones?
I first, I'm not positive. I think I was 9 years old. Yeah, I was 9 years old. I met him with Sammy Davis Jr. I think it was at Sammy's house. And that's when I first set eyes on him. And I never knew that we would end up working together professionally. And then we did The Wiz, which was in New York City. And then after The Wiz, we did an album called Off the Wall.
The Wiz was a motion picture?
Yes, Universal.
Now, at some point, you made a tape recording of The Girl Is Mine, a work tape?
Yes.
I'd like to play for you a document that's previously been marked as Exhibit 489, and what I'll do is give this to the reporter after we're done so that he can hold in his custody. And I'll just play a little bit of it at first, Mr. Jackson, and ask you to tell me whether you recognize Exhibit 489. My question is, I'm going to play Exhibit 489, and again, Mr. Jackson, ask you whether you recognize it. I'll just play a portion of it. I'm going to stop the Exhibit 489 for a moment and ask you, Mr. Jackson, whether you recognize that.
Yes, that's me writing the parts to The Girl Is Mine, creating it. Sorry.
What were the circumstances under which you started making Exhibit 489?
Well, just a tape recorder there and making sounds like...
Objection. Are we going to have? Is this
right in my
objection?
dreams, says I met her
Objection.
from the
I have an objection.
start.
I have an objection.
Well, that's how I did it.
How did you how did you come to? You may have told me already, but I don't think you did. How did you come to get the song, the music on Exhibit 489 in mind?
Like I've said before, songs create themselves. It just come out of me. You know, it just come from inside out. And I think I'm just the source through which it comes. And you asked me how I created, and I started to perform to give you an example of how it's done, of how I create songs. And when I create my music, I make these sounds. I wrote a song called Who Is
Objection.
It?
Do you recall where you were when The Girl Is Mine, the song The Girl Is Mine came to you, Mr. Jackson?
I think I was at the Encino house or a condominium because we were rebuilding the Encino house and staying in a smaller place.
Let me play for you some more of Exhibit 489. I'm going to stop it at some point and ask some more questions.
Yeah, that's The Girl Is Mine.
Objection.
Doggone girl is mine.
Is there
Mr.
a question
Jackson,
before the...
Will you show us what you were doing on that tape?
Yeah. Every night she walks right in my dreams. Since I met her from the start, I'm so proud I am the only one who is special in her heart. The girl is mine. The doggone girl is mine. Don't waste your time, because the doggone girl is mine.
When you were making some sounds with your mouth, what was the purpose of that?
The sounds are the rhythms that I make. I wrote a song on the Dangerous album called Who Is It? And what I do is I go to a tape recorder and I put down the sounds the way I'm hearing it in my head. And I'm hearing the bass, I'm hearing the percussion, I'm hearing the drums. And the Who Is It? Like, it goes, bum, that's how it's
Motion to
done.
strike.
So what I
Move to
do is
strike.
I go to a tape recorder and I just put exactly what I'm hearing in my head down on tape, and that's how I pretty much do it.
Would you briefly show us how you made the rhythm sounds on The Girl Is Mine tape?
Sure. Like that.
I'd like to play.
Girl is mine. Sorry, my voice. I'm really hoarse. At a concert last night. My throat is
Objection,
really
move to
bad.
strike.
No, I've stopped the tape. You were singing some lyrics and not others, is that right?
Pardon?
You were singing some lyrics but not others.
Yes.
Why was that?
Because certain words come into your head at a certain time that are fitting for the melody. Certain words come with the melody at the same time that it's created. You know, heal the world. I mean, I didn't think about it. It just came. Make it a better place. So it came with the melody. Heal the world. And I thought about it. Wow, that's nice. Heal the world. Let's heal our planet.
Let me play some more of Exhibit 489.
Don't you mind? The girl is mine. Don't go girl is mine.
I'll stop there. You were making some noise where you just laughed. What were you doing there on The Girl Is Mine?
I was imitating a Moog bass where you play the bass on a keyboard, but you have this little, it's like a stick where you can go, like noises like that. Like that.
Thank you. You're singing some high notes there.
Yeah.
Jack.
What were you singing at that point, just before I stopped the tape?
I'm singing what I hear over the chorus, like a string part. Da 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 da. The girl is mine.
The girl is mine. See how she's hanging high. She's hanging high and low for me. She know what she's done. She knows that is what to do.
You just sang. Did you just hear some words on the tape?
Yeah, that part of the song I never used
Why not?
because it went in another direction, and I can tell by listening to that where it's gonna go. It's probably gonna go da 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 da, because it's most likely to go in that direction. I haven't heard this since then.
I know that I can be.
There it is.
She done bust inside of me. She just I her so sweet.
Objection, there's no question before the witness.
I heard this so long.
Yes, she knows she mine. The girl is mine.
The girl is mine.
Move to the witness.
The girl is mine. Don't she's mine. La la la.
were you singing just before I stopped the tape?
Counter lines, musical counter lines that can go against the main part. It could be a keyboard, it could be a flute, it could be a string part. It's like a tapestry of sound, which is what the law of music is.
Continue playing Exhibit 489.
On the piano, it's like this. Do-da. It starts off. Do-da.
What were you doing right there? What was
It's
that?
creating another part that I heard, which I did do on the demo, which I played myself.
Well, was there a particular musical instrument that
It's
you were
a
in?
piano. It's accenting. Like that.
Your love got so much to me, but I held the candle in mine, the candle in mine.
Okay, I'm just going to play some more of Exhibit 489, Mr. Jackson, once you wait for my question.
The bass are that.
What'd you say right there?
Strings.
And what did that mean?
It's the part that would go over a verse, like a second verse, which would climax the song, which would build it.
Were you imitating a particular instrument when you made that sound?
Yes.
What?
Strings. I haven't said, I go strings.
The string.
Stop, I'm going to play more of Exhibit 489. Yeah, I'm playing more of Exhibit 489.
Piano.
What did you just say on the tape?
I'm not positive. I think it said piano or something. What I'm doing now, after
Let me
creating...
ask you, what are you doing now on the tape?
Okay. After creating the melody, I'm now creating the different sounds that I want to go with the melody. What each instrument should do to create the song.
Play more of Exhibit 489.
String. Guitar.
What were you doing there?
Creating a French horn part, which I never used. Da 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 da.
Thank you.
That could be soft horn.
What did you just say
I
there?
just said that could be soft horns.
Continue with Exhibit 489.
I can tell the way she hang her head, but she knows goodly fine. And she talks to me safe in her bed, and I know she ought to mind. The girl is mine. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. The girl is mine. And And don't write this song. Don't write anything. Let the song create itself.
That's my law.
Let me back the tape up slightly. And I do want to.
That's what I can say.
And don't write this song. The girl is mine. And don't write this song. Don't write anything. Let the song create itself. Let the strings tell you what to do, where they should come. Let the piano tell you what chords to hit, what are the fills. Let the bass tell you what it should be doing. Everything. Let it create itself. Let it form. Let it do what it wants to do. Don't force upon the song. Let the song force upon you. Let it tell you where to go.
Okay, what did you mean by what you said on the tape?
What I meant was, a song creates itself. I'm just the source through which it comes. It all creates itself. When a song comes to me, I'm hearing the strings, I'm hearing the bass, I'm hearing the drums, I'm hearing everything comes as a package. It's like catching a leaf that falls from a tree. It's the most spiritual, beautiful thing that can ever happen. And sometimes I just get on my knees and I pray to God out of thankfulness that it happened, that it came to me. And that's what I'm saying. Let it create itself, because it's trying to create itself.
I'll continue with Exhibit 489.
Punchline, that piano feel that goes do 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 do. That's harmony with that voice harmony, which do 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 do.
What'd you say right there?
Some type of harmony part. Oh, the girl is mine. Do 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 do. What I'm trying to do is, what I'm hearing in my head is some type of counter line to build the chorus. Because in songwriting, you should go from the verse to the chorus. And when the chorus comes, it should be like a flower blossoming in your face. So to build that and to make that happen, you have to add in other sounds to make it refreshing and wonderful. So that's all that is.
What's the bridge of a song?
I love you more than he.
Objection.
I was asking you a more general question. What is a bridge?
What is a bridge?
Yes.
A bridge, what a bridge is to take you from A to B. It is to take you from the verse to another part. It is escapism from hearing the same mundane, trivial, ordinary thing that you've been hearing all the time. Because the ear gets tired of hearing the same sounds. So what a bridge does, it takes you away from all of that. Then when it finally comes back to what you were doing before, it's stronger. It's much stronger.
Does the girl... I'm sorry. Finish your...
It has a much stronger effect.
Does the song The Girl Is Mine have a bridge?
Yes, it does.
Could you sing that for us?
It goes, I love you more than he, take you anywhere. And I go, but I love you endlessly, loving we will share. So come and go with me to on the town. But we both cannot have her, so it's one or the other. And one day we'll discover that she's my girl forever. Don't build your hopes to be let down, 'cause I really feel it's time that she tell you I'm the one for her. That type of thing.
Let me continue, Mr. Jackson, with Exhibit 489, and I will ask you a question at some point.
Girl in mine. Here's another bridge part. For instance. Take go anywhere. She feeling girl. I know that I do. She can go with me, take me anywhere. I feel she will see the girl on my own. She can go with me. She can go with me, take her anywhere. Don't I would sure to be if I really care. She can go with me out of the town. Why? It's a slight change. She can go with me. Da, da. She can go da da da. Yeah, that's it. She can go with me. Da 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 da. She can feel with the breath you wind. I hope you say hello to her.
The segment that I just played, what were you doing there?
Creating, or discovering, I should say. Because I try not to invent. I try to discover what's there. And I'm discovering where the song wants to go. And it's the bridge. It's the bridge of the song. And it's these changes that it reminds me of a song I just wrote recently called Stranger in Moscow in Russia. And I went through the same thing, trying to dictate into a microphone what you're hearing in your head. It's very difficult sometimes because you can't, you only have one voice, but you're hearing full chords. So it's a very difficult thing to do. But you just do your best.
What's a chord, Mr. Jackson?
What's a chord?
Yeah, in music.
A chord is harmony. It's sound that's pleasant, something that can be pleasant to the ear. Music.
Let me just state for the record, I'm playing Exhibit 489, and at some point I will ask you a question about it, Mr. Jackson.
Just to see it's in mine, the girl is mine. Do 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 do. The girl is mine. Do 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 do. The girl is mine. Do 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 do. The doggone girl is mine. Do 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 do. Now the chorus of the bridge is down 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 down.
What did you just say there?
I'm saying the chords to the bridge. I'm now just bringing out what I think the chords, just defining into my head what the chords should do to accompany the melody. So, which is very important.
I'll play some more from Exhibit 489.
Down, oh God, down, and on this part, is wow, and another.
Mr. Jackson, what were you doing there?
I'm making background sounds, which I did on the demo, which is just one of the notes. Just a harmony part. I think there's like 6 different harmony notes. That's just one of 6.
I'll play further from Exhibit 489.
What is?
What were you doing there?
Same thing. It's a harmony part that goes against the other harmony. I'm creating different notes, which are harmonics, to go against the music. I'm creating all the harmonies and all the sounds, each individual sound, which make up the whole of The Girl Is Mine.
Play further from Exhibit 489.
When the song first kicks off, I can hear some horns in the front. For instance, this is how the music goes. In the front, do 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 da do do boom boom do 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 boom boom boom. I can hear horns da do 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 do. Soft horns.
What were you doing there?
Creating what I heard at the time, French horns, which are soft horns, which I felt should have gone at the time in the beginning of the song. That type of thing.
She can go with me, take you anywhere. Wah, ba, 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 ba. Wah, ba, 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 ba.
What part of the song is it that we just heard?
You just heard the bridge.
She can go with me out of town, messing around. Great God, we both can heaven, so it's fun on the other.
There it is.
Don't build your hopes to be met.
What did you just hear?
There it is. That's what I was looking for. It's the fire that builds coming out of the bridge. But we both cannot have her, so it's one or the other. And one day you'll discover that she's my girl forever. And don't build your hopes to be let. So it's coming out of the bridge.
You okay, Mr. Jackson? You want to take a break?
My mouth hurts.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, at the break, did you find it necessary to take a pain medication?
Do I find it necessary?
Did you, at the break, did you have to take a pain medication for your pain?
Yes.
Real quickly want to ask you about a cassette tape that's been previously marked as Exhibit 492, an exhibit that I'll give to the court reporter on completion of the deposition or a break. I just want to play a portion of it for you and ask you whether you recognize Exhibit 492. I'll stop it there. Mr. Jackson, do you recognize Exhibit 492?
Yes.
What is it?
That's my original demo of The Girl Is Mine.
Does that demo use any of the material that you sung when you created the work tape?
Yes.
After you did the demo for The Girl Is Mine, what happened next in connection with the song?
After that, I played it for Quincy, and he loved it. He thought it was perfect for Paul and I. And we played it for Paul in Arizona, and Paul loved it. We recorded it.
Was it commercially released?
Yes.
Did anyone make any changes in the studio?
Were there any changes from that?
Yeah.
Other than that? Yes.
What?
There was a guitar lick that's different that was added.
Any changes to the bridge?
Yes, the bridge was extended a little.
Who suggested that?
I think it was Quincy, I think.
Mr. Jackson, before this lawsuit was filed, did you ever hear a song called Happy Go Lucky Girl?
No.
When you wrote The Girl Is Mine, did you copy from anyone else's song?
No.
Was The Girl Is Mine written by you and you alone?
Written by me and me alone.
Before we go on to the next song that we're going to talk about, I'd like to ask you some questions. Do you know anybody named Robert Smith?
I've heard of the name.
Where'd you hear the name?
I don't know.
Do you know anybody named Clifford Rubin?
Doesn't ring any bells.
Do you know Raynard Jones?
Yes.
How do you know Raynard Jones?
A friend of my brother's, I think, over the years or something.
Do you consider him a friend of yours?
No.
Why not?
Well, a friend wouldn't do this, would he?
How about in the early years? You ever think of him as a friend of yours?
Not really. He's not my age. I mean, he hung out with my brothers. He's much older than I am.
Over the years, did Raynard Jones ever visit your family?
Yes.
Under what circumstances?
Hello, goodbye.
Do you ever recall Raynard Jones playing you songs in your studio in Encino?
No.
Do you ever copy any songs provided you by Raynard Jones?
No.
Ever copy any songs written by Robert Smith?
No.
I'd like to talk now about the song Thriller. Are you familiar with the song Thriller?
Yes.
Who wrote Thriller, Mr. Jackson?
A guy named Rod Temperton.
Did you have any role in connection with the song Thriller at all?
I sang Thriller.
Did you have any role in writing the song?
No.
When did you first hear the song Thriller?
I first heard the song, it was a different title. I heard it in Encino, at my house in Encino. It was under a different title.
What was that title?
Starlight, Sun.
And who brought you the song under that different title?
Rod Temperton.
Did he come to your studio? Did he come to your house alone? Or was he with someone?
He came with Quincy.
Before Rod Temperton brought you this demo of Starlight, did you have any contact with him in connection with the song Starlight?
No.
When you got to your house, what did Mr. Temperton do in connection with the song Thriller?
He came with a keyboard machine, and I kind of admired the way he worked. He had all the sounds already programmed inside the machine. So when he MIDI'd the sounds to another keyboard or to the main board that's in the studio, which is the audio board. They would play the sounds and the performance that he had performed somewhere else. It could have been Switzerland or Germany. So all the parts were there inside that machine, done and performed already.
At some point, did you learn the song Thriller or Starlight at the time? Let me withdraw that. At some time, did you learn the song Starlight?
Yes.
How did you learn it?
He just sang, well, he sings it on a tape, and it's his voice singing against a demo.
And again, what was the name of the song when it was on that demo?
Starlight Sun.
In your performance of what eventually became Thriller, did you make any changes in connection with your performance in the music?
Not that I can think of.
Did you play any role whatsoever in writing the music underlying the lyrics in Thriller that go, it's close to midnight and something evil's lurking in the dark?
No.
Who wrote the lyrics for Thriller?
Rod Temperton.
Who has writing credit for Thriller?
Rod Temperton.
Do you get any writing credit for Thriller?
No.
Before this lawsuit, did you ever hear a song entitled Run on Man-Child?
No.
At any time, Mr. Jackson, did you give Rod Temperton music from someone else so that Rod Temperton could put that music in Thriller?
No.
Turning to another subject, you realize that Joseph Jackson is one of the defendants in this case?
I heard.
Who's Joseph Jackson?
My father.
At any time in your professional career, has Joseph Jackson ever provided music that you or your group would perform for recording purposes?
Repeat your question.
Yeah. At any time during your professional career, has Joseph Jackson ever had any role in selecting the songs that you or your group would perform?
No.
Did Joseph Jackson ever give you any music written by Raynard Jones?
No.
Did he ever give you any music written by Robert Smith or Cliff Rubin?
No.
Joseph Jackson have any role in creating Rod Temperton's Thriller?
No.
Finally, I'd like to turn to We Are the World. Who wrote the song We Are the World, Mr. Jackson?
I wrote We Are the World, and Lionel Richie also helped.
How did you become involved with We Are the World?
Quincy Jones called me on the phone. I was in my bedroom in Encino, and he said, Smelly, he calls me Smelly. He said, Smelly, we need a song for the children of the world. There are a lot of children dying, and I want you and Lionel Richie to go in and write a song. I asked Stevie Wonder to write a song, but it's taken him quite some time. You know how Stevie is, he said. He said he's brilliant, but it takes him quite a while to get going. I said, Quincy, I just finished Thriller. I just spent all that time in the studio. I don't feel like it. And he said, but it would be very important for the children. As soon as he said that, he knew how I feel about children and how important that is to me. So I said, I'll do it. And so I got together with Lionel, and we got together and goofed off for 2 days doing nothing, just making fun of each other and being silly, because we go way back since I was like 8 years old or something.
How'd you meet Lionel Richie?
He used to open up for my group, Jackson 5, on our early tours as the Commodores. And then after he would perform, he would go out front and hold the fans back. So he was like a bodyguard at the same time, in front of the stage, holding back all the kids. So we had a pretty good relationship, and we laughed about old times. So we had a lot of catching up to do. So we talked and laughed and threw things at each other and joked around and didn't get anything done. Then on the third day, I think it was the third day, I woke up with this melody in my head.
Did Mr. Ritchie bring any melody to you at any time?
Yes, Lionel brought something to me. He had something in his head that he had as well.
What was that? Can you sing it?
Yes, he had, I think he played it on tape. And he sang it to me. This is what he played. He said, "This is all I have, and I hope you like it." It went, da-dee-da-da-dum, da-dee-da-da-dum. And that was it.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I said, "That's nice."
And then what happened?
I said, "Well, listen to this." And I played him what I, no, that's not what happened. I said, "I have something in my head that I have as well." I said, "But I want to go in the studio and put it all together first, and then I'll let you hear it." So I went in the studio and put all the sounds down. There comes a time when we heed a certain call, da-da-da, the whole thing, the bridge. And
Could you briefly demonstrate how you went through that creative process? Well, let me back up. Did you ever put what your ideas for We Are the World into a tape recorder?
yes, I did.
Do you know where that tape is?
No. I never keep up with my tapes. I'm not organized in that way.
Can you demonstrate for us, just briefly, how you created some of the music that you created for We Are the World?
Okay. I strongly remember getting on my knees and praying to God, thanking Him for the melody that came into my head, because I was pleased with it when I woke up that morning. I said, "This is so lovely." And I went to the tape recorder and I put it down, and it was da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da, da-da-dum, dee-da-da-dee-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. Then I put in that part, da-da-da-da-dum.
When you say that part, the part that...
Which is the part that Lionel brought. Da-da-da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da-da, then I added again, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-dee-da-da-dum, which is the part I added on. Da-da-dee-da-dee-da-da-da, dee-da-da-dum.
Did you also work on the harmony?
The harmonies, I did just the way I did The Girl Is Mine, no different. I did the strings, and I did the bass, and I did the chords, and the bridge, the same way, the same law, and letting it create itself.
Did you eventually make a demo of We Are the World?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember where that was?
I can't find that tape to this day. I wish I knew where it was. I'd like to hear it just to have some laughs.
Did you go to a studio to make the demo?
Yeah, it was a studio in the valley.
Was there an engineer there at the studio? What was the name of? Let me back up. What was the name of the studio? Do you recall?
It's for you or who? Thanks. Red Wing. I think that was the name of it.
And you recall what the engineer said? Let me back up. Was there an engineer?
Yes.
What happened next? Well, let me stop. Let me play you just a brief portion of tape marked Exhibit 486, previously identified.
And there seems no hope at all. If you just believe, there's no way we can fall.
The bridge.
We didn't mention truth yet.
No, we did. We haven't mentioned the love. I don't think they say.
You recognize Exhibit 486, Mr. Jackson?
Yes,
What is it?
that's the bridge to We Are the World.
Do you hear anybody talking on the tape?
Sounds like Lionel.
Let me play you a little more and just a little bit more.
No, the truth we have mentioned. Love we have mentioned. Right? We hit truth in the last part, last verse. So far we haven't mentioned truth.
That someone cares in the life.
You also on that tape?
Yes.
How did you come to create Exhibit 486, this tape?
How did I create it?
Yeah, how did it happen that what was going on was being taped?
By just, because at some point, I said, I want to just tape some of what we're doing so we can just have it, you know.
What were you and Mr. Ritchie doing on that tape?
Singing, goofing off.
Were you writing any of the song at the time?
Not really. We kind of goof off a lot. As God has shown
I'll play you a little more.
by turning stones to bread.
So we all must lend a helping hand.
We are the world. We are the children. We are the one. Yeah, we lead ourselves into a singing and it helps us to give. So let's start giving. There's a chance we're taking. We're taking our lives. It's true, we'll make a brighter day. Just you and me. When you're down and out and there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's no way we can fall. And the only way, and the only truth.
We're playing a little more. Does that refresh your recollection as to whether or not you and Mr. Ritchie were working on any part of the song?
Yes, I was reciting the bridge.
Let me play just a little bit more.
Let us understand.
Let us understand.
It's going to take you and me. Let us
It's
understand.
we who have the... How about that?
Let us all. Let us understand.
Can you tell me now, listening to more, whether you and Mr. Ritchie were working on any part of We Are the World?
Yes, working on, I don't know if it was lyrics or what. I think the lyrics, we kind of fooled around with the lyrics after we're creating the melody.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, before this lawsuit was filed, did you ever hear of a song called What Will Become of the Children?
No.
Did you copy anyone's song in writing We Are the World?
No.
Did Mr. Ritchie?
No.
Did you and Lionel Ritchie together and with no one else write We Are the World?
Say that again?
Yes. Did you and Mr. Ritchie, and only you and Mr. Ritchie, write We Are the World?
That's the truth.
I have no further questions.
Would you please state your name?
Michael Joseph Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, would you spell your last name?
Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, do you know a person by the name of Raynard Jones?
I've heard of the name Raynard Jones.
Have you simply heard of it, or do you know the person?
Do I know the person? I've met him.
When did you first meet him?
I don't remember.
How long have you known him?
I don't remember.
Did you first meet him in Los Angeles?
No.
Did you first meet him in Detroit?
No.
Did you first meet him in New York?
No.
Where did you first meet him?
I think Indiana.
What part of Indiana?
I think Gary, Indiana.
Did you live in Gary, Indiana at one time?
Yes.
Okay. Were you in fact born in Gary, Indiana?
Yes.
Under what circumstances did you meet Raynard Jones?
I don't remember.
But you did meet him in Gary, Indiana. That's your recollection, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But you don't recall under what circumstances you met him. Is that correct?
I don't know.
You don't know what? You don't know what, Mr. Jackson?
Under what circumstances?
Okay. Have you ever discussed music and songs with Raynard Jones?
Not that I remember.
Is it that you have not discussed music or songs with Raynard Jones, or is it that you don't remember whether you've discussed songs and music with Raynard Jones?
I don't remember.
What? What is it that you don't remember?
Discussing music or songs with Raynard Jones.
Okay. Do you recall ever having any conversations with Raynard Jones?
Yes.
Okay. Approximately how many conversations do you recall that you've had with Raynard Jones?
I don't know.
Okay. Are they too numerous to recall?
I don't know.
So they may be too numerous for you to recall, is that right?
No.
You just don't recall?
I don't recall.
Would it have been more than 5?
Could be.
More than 10?
I'm not sure.
More than 15?
I'm not sure.
20?
I'm not sure.
Do you know where any of these conversations took place?
No.
Do you know whether anyone else was present when these conversations took place?
No.
Have you ever rehearsed any songs with Raynard Jones in any location?
Yes.
Where?
I think at his house
Okay. And where would that have been?
in Indiana.
Is that Gary, Indiana?
Yes.
On how many occasions did you rehearse songs with Raynard Jones at his house in Gary, Indiana?
I don't remember.
On the occasions that you rehearsed songs with Raynard Jones at his home in Gary, Indiana, did you also discuss those songs with him?
No.
You just rehearsed. Is that correct?
As I remember.
As you remember what?
What you just said.
As you remember, you just rehearsed and did not discuss songs with him?
Yes.
When you were growing up in Gary, Indiana, did you ever perform at Roosevelt High School?
Yes.
Did you ever perform with Raynard Jones at Roosevelt High School?
Yes.
Has Raynard Jones ever visited with you outside of Gary, Indiana?
I think he came to California.
Okay. And did he ever visit with you and or members of your family at your residence on Havenhurst?
Yes.
Do you recall how many times that he did that?
No.
Mr. Jackson, do you ever recall whether Raynard Jones visited at your property on Havenhurst while you were there?
I'm not positive.
Did he or did he not visit while you were there?
I'm not sure.
Do you recall Raynard Jones visiting the Havenhurst property accompanied by 2 other individuals?
I don't know.
Is it your testimony that Mr. Jones never visited the Havenhurst property while you were present?
I'm not sure.
All right. Other than Motown, did you sign with any other record company?
No.
Is it your testimony here today that you didn't sign a contract with CBS Records?
Did I sign with CBS Records? Is that what you're asking me?
That was the question.
Yes.
When was that?
I'm not sure.
Did your father have anything to do with the signing of the contract with CBS Records?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure whether he was involved in any manner?
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask the question. Was your father, to your knowledge, involved in any manner or form in the signing of the contract between you, your brothers, and CBS?
Yes.
Okay. In what way?
I don't know.
Now, you know that he was involved, but you don't know in what way he was involved?
Exactly.
Mr. Jackson, do you have or have you ever had a collection of musical materials?
A collection of musical materials?
Yes, or a collection.
I love going to the record store to buy records.
I'm sorry?
I love going to the record store to buy records.
The question to you is, did you at any time have a collection of musical materials?
A collection that I buy from the music store.
Okay. Did that collection include materials from any other source other than the material that you purchased from a music store?
No.
When did you first begin keeping this collection?
I don't remember.
Mr. Jackson, the collection, have you ever maintained a collection of musical materials that included unreleased songs?
That I've written.
Have you ever maintained a musical collection that contained unreleased songs written by anyone else?
No.
In 1977, did you maintain a collection of musical materials?
My favorite record store is Tower Records. I collect cassettes and CDs from Tower Records.
Would you read back my last question, please?
Question: in 1977, did you maintain a collection of musical materials?
Same answer.
Yes or no? Did you or didn't you? Did you?
No.
You didn't maintain a collection in 1977. Is that right?
Music that I buy from the record store.
So you can, in 1977, you maintain a collection of music which you purchased from a record store. Is that right?
77, 78, 79, 76. It's part of, I love music. I buy records.
So you did maintain a collection of songs that you purchased from a music store, right? In 1977.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you keep your musical materials that you purchased from the music store?
Everywhere.
There was no particular location?
No.
Okay. They were strewn everywhere. Is that it?
Thrown about.
Okay.
I'm not organized in that way.
Did you ever receive in the mail cassettes with songs on them from other people?
No.
Is there anything in your musical collection which you did not create?
Of course.
Cassettes with songs on them through the mail from other people?
Not that I remember.
Have you ever, during the period in question, Mr. Jackson, received cassette tapes and lead sheets and/or lead sheets from any other person?
Repeat that question.
Question, have you ever, during the period in question, Mr. Jackson, received cassette tapes and lead sheets and/or lead sheets from any other person?
During what period?
1977 through 1985.
No.
Prior to 1977, did you receive cassettes or lead sheets in the mail from other persons?
No.
Subsequent to 1985, have you received cassettes and lead sheets from individuals through the mail?
I don't remember.
Is it your testimony, Mr. Jackson, that you have never received cassettes and lead sheets through the mail from other individuals?
No.
Is that your testimony?
Testimony.
Your testimony that you have not?
I have not.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, I'll refer you once again to your deposition dated October the 19th, 1989. Refer you to page 138. Question at line 23. Do you receive material from other songwriters? Answer at line 25. Do I? Continuing on 139. Line 1, question, yes. Line 2, answer, I used to.
Songs that I've recorded.
The material that you received in the mail, cassettes or lead sheets, what did you do with them?
I just don't remember getting things in the mail.
Draw your attention to page 139 of your deposition, volume 1. Line 25, question, would you receive tapes in the mail or lead sheets in the mail or lyric sheets in the mail or reel-to-reel tapes in the mail? Answer on page 140, line 3, yes. But no, I wouldn't dare take the time and listen. I'd just throw them away. If that's what you said, is that what you did?
Yes.
So you did receive cassettes and lead sheets in the mail from other people. Is that correct?
I'm foggy on that. I don't quite remember.
Now, when you would receive these materials in the mail, would you throw them away?
If I got any songs in the mail, I would never listen to them.
My question to you is, the songs that you received in the mail, did you throw them away?
Absolutely.
And how did you get rid of them?
I don't remember.
Is it your testimony that while you received cassettes of songs in the mail that you never listened to those cassettes?
Repeat your question.
Question, is it your testimony that while you received cassettes of songs in the mail, that you never listened to those cassettes?
I believe I had a question before the witness. Would the reporter read that question back, please?
The question, is it your testimony that while you received cassettes of songs in the mail, that you never listened to those cassettes?
Any cassettes that come to me personally in the mail, which is very rare, I throw them away. And our policy of tapes come to the office that are songs written by other people, we simply send them back. If I'm on the street, if I'm in a record store, and somebody has a song, and he comes up to me and he says, Michael, I'm a songwriter. I want to make it like you. Listen to my song. I say, I can't take your tape. I simply do not take tapes. I'm a songwriter myself. I write my own songs. I don't have to take other people's songs.
My question to you is it true that the songs that you received in the mail that you
Sorry.
that you did not listen to them?
I do not listen to them.
Mr. Jackson, does the collection that you have consist of songs that you have started but you didn't like, and you let them go or you dropped them?
There are certain songs that I have that I've written that I just think aren't good enough, or I like it at the time, and then something will come along that'll beat that song out. That'll be stronger to me. So it'll just leave that song there. It's just there.
So your answer is yes?
Yes to what?
To the question.
What's the question?
Please read it back.
I'm sorry.
Question, Mr. Jackson, does the collection that you have consist of songs that you have started but you didn't like, and you let them go or you dropped them?
Let them go. I don't understand the terminology you're using. Can you rephrase it?
What does your collection consist of?
Songs that I've written?
My question is, what does your collection consist of?
I'm trying so hard to answer it. You mean the songs that I've written?
No. My question to you is, you have a collection. What does the collection consist of?
Glenn Campbell, Johnny Mathis, the Carpenters, the Eagles, What else do I like? Stevie Wonder. I love the Bee Gees. I love James Brown, Aretha Franklin, all the old Motown stuff from the 60s. You want me to keep going?
Well, if you choose to.
Okay, what else? I love Herman's Hermits. I love the Beatles. I love a lot. The Sherman Brothers, who I think are very good. Who else do I like? I said Stevie Wonder. That's all that I can think of right now.
Are any of the songs that you've worked on, your personal songs, included in your collection?
That's what I was asking you before. Now, could you repeat your question?
Read the question back.
One that I read previous.
My last question, which is probably the one that you read previously.
Question, Mr. Jackson. Does the collection that you have consist of songs that you have started but you didn't like, and you let them go or you dropped them?
Let them go. I just don't understand what that means.
Mr. Jackson, I call your attention to volume 1 of your deposition taken October 19th, 1989, page 129. Question at line 6. What does your collection consist of? Answer at line 7. Songs I work on. Songs that I have started and didn't like it that much, so I just let it go. And there's just classical music I buy, like a great song that I enjoy listening to. Show tunes, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Chuck Berry. Do you recall that question and giving that answer?
That sounds like me.
My question is, do you recall that question and do you recall giving that answer?
No.
So then, what is the answer contained in your deposition? Is that accurate or not?
It sounds accurate.
Okay, and did you give that answer?
It sounds like something I would have said.
My question to you is, did you give that answer?
Objection, asking.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay, so you gave that answer.
Yes.
All right.
I forgot Rodgers and Hammerstein. I love them.
Now, with regard to your collection, other than what you've already testified to, does that collection include the works of any other party or person?
The works of any other party or person? Yes, I like.
No, I'm not asking you a question about what you like. I'm asking you about what's included in your collection. You've told us you've mentioned a number of names of individuals and groups.
Yes.
Including songs that you work on that are included in your collection, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any other persons whose works that you have not mentioned are included in your collection?
No.
Is it true, Mr. Jackson, that you started to sing "The Girl Is Mine" into a tape recorder?
Yes.
And have we heard that tape today?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson, you've indicated that you started to sing "The Girl Is Mine" into a tape recorder. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you've also testified that we have heard that tape today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And is that Exhibit 489?
I don't know.
Now, Mr. Jackson, is that the original tape that you made for "The Girl Is Mine"? Exhibit 489, which you've heard, is that an accurate description or depiction of the original tape that you made for "The Girl Is Mine"?
Sounds like it to me.
How long have you had that tape?
I don't remember.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I don't remember.
Was there a time when that tape was lost?
I don't remember.
Was there a time when you didn't know where that tape was?
Don't remember.
Sorry?
Don't remember.
Mr. Jackson, I call your attention to your deposition taken October the 19th, 1989, page 128. Question, line 20. When you say "there it was," what do you mean by that? Answer at line 22. I started to sing in the tape recorder. Line 23, question. Do you still have that tape? Line 24, answer. I don't have it personally. It's somewhere. To page 129, question. Do you know where it is? Line 2, answer. No. Do you recall those questions being asked and you're giving those answers in your deposition taken on October the 19th, 1989?
No.
Do you recall the question at page 129, you don't know who has it? Answer at line 4, no, it must be in my collection somewhere at home. Do you recall that question and that answer?
I don't remember.
What is it that you don't remember?
What you just asked.
Okay. You don't remember saying that you don't know who has it?
Repeat your question.
You don't remember saying you don't know who has it?
I don't remember.
You don't remember saying that?
I don't remember.
You don't remember saying that?
That's right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yes.
You remember saying in answer to the question, do you know where it is? No. Do you recall that answer?
No.
Mr. Jackson, with regard to the songs that you received in the mail from other people, did you return those songs?
I answered that question.
My question to you is, did you return any of the songs that you received in the mail?
I threw them away.
Did you keep a log of any kind or a record of any of the tapes that you received in the mail?
No.
Do you also consider Mr. Jones to be disloyal?
Yes.
Do you feel that Mr. Jones owes you some loyalty?
I think he owes honesty.
you say that you also owe honesty?
I'm being very honest.
That's not my question. Do you feel that you owe honesty?
I am honest.
So then when you say, is it your testimony that Mr. Jones is dishonest?
Absolutely.
Okay. Why do you say that he is dishonest?
Because he knows in his heart that he didn't write those songs.
Which songs are you referring to?
The songs that you're referring to.
No. The question is, which songs are you referring to, Mr. Jackson?
The Girl Is Mine. We Are the World. And Thriller.
So is it your testimony that Mr. Jones is claiming that he wrote The Girl Is Mine?
Yes.
Is it your testimony that Mr. Jones is saying that he wrote We Are the World?
Yes.
Is it your testimony that Mr. Jones is saying that he wrote Thriller?
Yes.
And it is on that basis that you conclude that Mr. Jones is dishonest, is that correct?
Absolutely.
In October of 1989, did you discuss this lawsuit with Bill Bray?
I don't remember.
By the way, who is Bill Bray?
He's head of security
For whom?
for MJJ Productions,
And who is MJJ Productions?
my company.
Okay, and what does MJJ Productions do?
It's an office that administrates my personal affairs.
How long, and Mr. Bray is employed by MJJ Productions?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Okay. But he works for MJJ Productions?
Yes, he does.
And so his working for MJJ Productions, is it your contention that that's different from him being employed by MJJ Productions?
What's your question?
You said he works for MJJ Productions, is that right?
Yes.
Previously I asked you, was he employed by MJJ Productions? Recall that question?
Yes.
Do you recall what your answer was?
What was the answer?
I'm asking you the question, do you recall?
Yes.
What was the answer?
Was he employed by MJJ Productions?
That was the question.
The answer is yes.
How long has Mr. Bray been employed by MJJ Productions?
I'm not sure.
Prior to your move to California or after you moved to California?
I'm really not sure.
Is it your testimony that you don't recall a conversation with Bill Bray concerning Raynard Jones in this particular lawsuit in October of 1989?
No.
Did you ever talk to Bill Bray about the deposition that you gave on October the 19th, 1989?
I don't remember.
Do Do you recall the deposition taken October 19, 1989? This question, page 17, line 2. Anybody else that you talked to other than your lawyers about this deposition today? Answer at line 4, security. Question at line 5, who is that? Answer at line 6, Bill Bray and some of the guys of studio. Question at line 7, what did you talk to Bill Bray about? Do you recall those questions and giving those answers?
No.
Did you answer the questions as I've read them to you on October the 19th, 1989?
I must have.
Do you recall the nature of your conversation with Bill Bray concerning this lawsuit and your deposition in October 1989?
No.
You recall this question at page 17 of your deposition taken on October the 19th, 1989, line 7. What did you talk to Bill Bray about? Answer at line 8. The nature of the conversation was Bill was very disappointed this is happening. So was I, because it's very sad, because it's not true. To recall those questions and those answers?
No.
Did you give that answer starting at line 8, page 17 through line 10 at your deposition on October the 19th?
I must have.
To your knowledge, does Bill Bray know Raynard Jones?
Pardon?
To your knowledge, does Bill Bray know Raynard Jones?
Do I have knowledge that Bill knows Raynard Jones?
My question was, to your knowledge,
Oh.
does Bill Bray know Raynard Jones?
I'm not sure.
Have you ever been in the presence of Bill Bray and Raynard Jones at the same time?
Not that I can remember.
Do you recall testifying that the conversation with Bill Bray took place at the hideout?
No.
Call your attention to your deposition, October 19th, 1989, page 18. Question at line 2, what did you say to Bill Bray? Answer at line 3, I'm not sure. Question at line 4, did you say anything to him? Answer at line 5, in agreement. It was some words in agreement. Line 7, was that in a face-to-face conversation? Answer at line 8, yes. Question, where? Answer at line 10, at the hideout. Does that refresh your recollection as to where your conversation with Bill Bray took place?
Yes.
Okay, and did it take place at the hideout?
It must have, if that's what I said.
What did Bill Bray say to you about Raynard Jones in that conversation?
I don't remember.
Same deposition, October 19th, 1989, line 17. Question, line 14. What did you say to Bill and what did he say to you? Answer, line 16. Well, what Bill said, the nature of this, here's a guy who's never had a hit record and he's trying to claim that he's written a great song, that type of thing. Do you recall that question and giving that answer?
Kind of.
Did you agree with the statement made by Bill Bray?
Absolutely.
Why did you agree with this statement?
Why do I agree with the statement?
Why did you agree with this statement?
Because it's true.
What part was true?
He knows in his heart that he did not write those songs. He knows that.
Mr. Jackson, you testified on direct examination that Lionel Richie stated to you that you write songs quickly. You could write an album in 1 week. Do you recall that?
Yes.
When did you first receive the call from Quincy Jones with regard to creating a song that ultimately became We Are the World?
I don't remember.
From the time that you received the request from Mr. Jones, when did you begin work on your part of that composition?
I don't remember working on it, really.
What was your response, Mr. Jackson?
I don't remember working on it, really.
Did you work on music that ultimately became known as We Are the World?
Yes.
So you, okay. How soon after you received the call from Mr. Quincy Jones was it that you began that work?
I don't remember.
How long after the call from Mr. Quincy Jones did you contact anyone else concerning that work, which would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
I don't remember.
How soon after you received the call from Quincy Jones was it before you contacted Lionel with regard to working a song that would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
I'm sorry, could you read the question?
Really?
Question, how soon after you received the call from Quincy Jones was it before you contacted Lionel Richie with regard to working on a song that would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
I don't think I called Lionel.
Okay, so you didn't call him. Did he call you?
No, I think Quincy did.
Quincy called who?
Lionel Richie.
Did there come a time when you and Mr. Ritchie talked on the telephone about We Are the World, the song that would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
I don't remember.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Did there come a time when you and Mr. Ritchie met to work on a song that would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
Yes.
When was that?
I don't remember.
How many times did you and Mr. Ritchie work on a song that would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
I don't remember. For sure, I don't remember.
Where did you and Mr. Ritchie work on the song that would ultimately become known as We Are the World?
My house.
Any place else?
Well, and teaching everybody all the different parts, how to sing the song, all the different celebrities. A&M Studios, I think.
Mr. Jackson, just up there, how are you feeling?
Not good.
Can we take a break?
97. I'm not sure.
Have you ever lived in Encino, California?
Yes.
Okay. When did you first begin living in Encino, California?
Gee, I'm not sure.
Are you familiar with a residence in Encino, California on Havenhurst Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever lived there?
Yes.
And do you know whether you lived there in June of 1977?
77. I'm not sure.
Okay. But you do recall living at that address, at the Havenhurst address, is that right?
Yes.
When did you cease living at the Havenhurst address?
I don't remember.
Do you presently live at the Havenhurst address?
No.
Have you ever seen Raynard Jones at the house on Havenhurst Avenue?
I saw him at the gate one time, as I remember trying to get in.
My question to you, have you ever seen him in the house on Havenhurst Avenue?
I think one time he was inside that I saw him.
So your answer is yes?
It's foggy, I'm sorry.
So your answer is yes, that you have seen him in your house on Havenhurst?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Jackson, do you recall your deposition being taken on October the 19th, 1989?
Yes.
Okay. Page 24, I call your attention to this question, line 1. Has Raynard ever visited you at your home? And your answer at line 2, he has been there. Do you recall that question and that answer?
No.
How many times have you seen Raynard Jones at your house on Havenhurst Avenue?
Gee, I wouldn't remember.
Have you ever listened to an audio cassette tape in the presence of Raynard Jones in any location?
No, not that I remember.
Is it that you don't remember or that you have not?
I have not.
Have you ever seen Raynard Jones in the studio of your house on Havenhurst Avenue?
I don't remember, sir.
Is it that you don't remember or that you have not seen him in your studio of your house at Havenhurst Avenue?
I don't remember.
Have you ever seen Raynard Jones at your home on Havenhurst accompanied by other people?
It's foggy, but I think he had a friend with him.
And when would that have been?
I don't remember.
Do you know whether that would have been in June of 1977?
I really don't remember.
Have you and the Jacksons ever conducted a musical tour called the Victory Tour?
Yes.
In what year was that?
80-something.
Did the Victory Tour take place at any time during 1984?
It could have.
But is it your testimony that you do not know when the Victory Tour began?
I'm not positive. I'm bad with dates.
Do you know a person by the name of Johnny Ray Nelson?
Yes.
And how do you know him?
I think Johnny Ray, was my next door neighbor in Indiana.
Has Johnny Ray Nelson ever been an employee of yours?
No, not that I know of.
Is it your testimony that Johnny Ray Nelson has never been employed by you, or is it that you don't remember whether he was employed by you?
I'm not sure, sir.
Call your attention to page 83 of your deposition taken on October the 19th, 1989. At line 25, do you recall this question being asked relative to Johnny Ray Nelson? Has he ever worked for you? Line 25, page 83. Page 84, line 1, yes. Do you recall that question, and do you recall giving that answer?
No.
Okay. Is it your testimony here today that the answer that you gave in response to that question on October 1989 is not accurate?
I can't remember what he did.
That's not my question. My question to you is, are you contending that the answer that you gave to the question in your deposition in October 1989, is that inaccurate?
I'm not sure.
Is it true that Johnny Ray Nelson traveled with the Victory Tour?
I'm not sure.
Is it true that during the period 1983 to 1986, you received information that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music? Is that true?
Repeat your question.
Is it true that during the period 1983 through 1986, you received information that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music?
I'm not sure of the dates.
Did there come a time when you received information that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music?
Yes.
When was that?
I'm not sure.
Was that before or after you moved to California?
I think it was after we moved to California.
And from whom did you receive that information?
I'm not sure.
Did you ever receive that information from Johnny Ray Nelson?
What information?
That you and the Jacksons were copying Raynard Jones's music.
Could you repeat your question, sir?
Did you receive information from Johnny Ray Nelson at any time during the period 1983 to 1986 that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music?
I don't remember.
Is it that you don't remember, or that you did not receive such information from Johnny Ray Nelson?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you don't remember whether you received information from Johnny Ray Nelson during the period 1983 to 1986 that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music?
I don't remember. The dates, I don't remember.
I'm not asking you, we'll strike the dates. You said yourself that you had received information that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music. And I asked you, what year was that? Do you recall that?
What's your question?
My question to you is, you have testified here that you received information that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music. Is that correct?
Yes.
My question to you is, when did you receive that information?
I don't remember.
My question to you is, from whom did you receive that information?
I don't know.
My question to you is, did Johnny Ray Nelson ever convey information to you that Raynard Jones was complaining that you and the Jacksons were copying his music?
No. Right. Johnny Ray Nelson?
Yes.
No.
Mr. Jackson, I call your attention to page 82 of your deposition taken on October 19, 1989. Question at page 8, what people? Answer beginning at line 9. Well, one of the friends, one of our next door neighbors, who's a guy named Ray Nelson. Even Ray Nelson said once we succeeded and left Gary, Indiana, we had hit after hit record. And he said Raynard would come to him and say, don't that sound like my sound? Don't this part sound like the song I wrote? And he would try to say that we stole his song. We didn't even write the songs, let alone take them. Do you recall that question?
Well, you didn't finish
Now, my
testifying.
question to you is, do you recall give that question and responding as I have read to you at your deposition on October the 19th, 1989?
I do remember Johnny Ray Nelson being angry at Raynard. Johnny Ray saying something of the sort that Raynard is trying to take advantage of us because we became very successful and he didn't, and we took off into superstardom and he didn't, and so he was trying to find any excuse, anything to get back at us.
When did Mr. Johnny Ray Nelson tell you that?
I don't remember.
Okay. My question to you was, do you recall the question that I asked relative to your deposition and the answer that I read to you? Do you recall that question and giving the answer that I read to you?
Could you repeat that again?
The question at page 82, line 8. What people? Answer beginning at line 9. Well, one of the friends, one of our next door neighbors who is a guy named Ray Nelson. Even Ray Nelson said once, we succeeded and left Gary, Indiana. We had hit after hit record, and he said Raynard would come to him and say, don't that sound like my sound? Don't this part sound like the song I wrote? And he would try to say that we stole his song. We didn't even write the songs, let alone take them. Do you recall that question and that part of your answer?
I remember.
Okay. Was that which I've read to you as part of your answer accurate at the time that you gave it?
If I said it, it must be accurate.
All right. Now, during the Victory Tour, Mr. Jackson, did you and Johnny Ray Nelson discuss Raynard Jones?
I don't remember.
Is it that you don't remember whether you discussed him or that you did not discuss Raynard Jones with Johnny Ray Nelson?
I don't remember if his name was brought up or not.
Did you ever talk with Johnny Ray Nelson about Raynard Jones at the property on Havenhurst?
I don't remember.
Do you recall in your deposition of October 19, 1989 at page 83 Line 7, the question, have you ever talked with Ray Nelson about Raynard Jones? Your answer at line 9, answer, yeah. Question at page 10, but you don't know when? Answer, no. Question at page 12, do you know where? Answer, no. Could have been Havenhurst. Could you have talked with Johnny Ray Nelson about Raynard Jones at the Havenhurst property?
I don't remember.
So then your answer that you gave in your deposition when you say could have been Havenhurst, was that accurate then when you gave that answer?
It could have been.
Now, after moving to California, did you and your brothers perform in the Chicago area at any time?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you performed in the Chicago area, would Raynard Jones visit you and or your brothers after your performance?
No, I just remember my security saying he would always try to get backstage and hassle the security to try to get in, that type of thing.
On the occasions that you and your brothers performed in the Chicago area, did you ever see Mr. Jones after any of your concert sessions?
I don't remember.
On the occasions that you performed in the Chicago area, after your concert sessions, did Mr. Jones ever attempt to get you to listen to music?
Did he ever get me to listen to music?
Attempt or try to get you to listen to music?
Not that I know of.
When you would see Raynard Jones, strike that, you did see Raynard Jones in California after moving there, is that correct? Mr. Jackson, I'm going to show you what has been marked for purpose of identification as plaintiff's exhibit number 215 and ask if you can identify that. Answer, yes. Question line 21. Can you identify the person in that photograph? Answer at line 23, it's me. Do you recall those questions and you're giving those answers at your deposition in October 1989?
If I said it, then it must be accurate, but it had to be a better picture than that. Can't see that.
Jackson, I'm going to show you what has been marked as plaintiff's exhibit number 216, which is a photocopy of a photograph. I ask you if you can identify it.
Well, to me it looks like the great Al Green and Raynard Jones, I think.
Is that you think that the other person in the photograph is Raynard Jones, or is the other person in the photograph plaintiff's exhibit 216 Raynard Jones?
It looks more like Raynard Jones. It's hard to tell on the Al Green, because, again, your pictures...
Does it appear to be a photograph which includes Raynard Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Jackson, can you tell me, in the context of the Thriller project, the We Are the World project, what these various entities do, or whether they were involved in those projects at all? MJJ Productions. What is MJJ Productions?
It's my office where they work with CBS Records on packaging, art design, answering letters, dealing with the fan club. It's our way of working with the world from inside, outside.
So then MJJ Productions really promotes and distributes and has something to do with the product that you record. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
MJJ Productions has something to do with your services as a recording artist and the product that you record and sell. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Warner Brothers Publications, Inc. Do you know what that company is?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that company is?
It's a movie company, a record company, like CBS, Sony.
So that Warner Brothers Publications, Inc. have something to do with the projects Thriller and We Are the World?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And what about Warner Tamerlane Publishing Corporation?
I'm not sure on that.
Okay. And USA for Africa Foundation, do you know what that is?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is?
It was an organization that was set up to distribute funds, relief funds to Africa for the project of We Are the World, which is a song that myself, Lionel Richie, wrote for Africa.
So then, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We organized all the celebrities together and we sang this song for Africa, USA, United States for Africa.
So then the foundation really was the beneficiary of the proceeds of the sale of the product We Are the World.
That
Is that a fair statement?
is the idea.
And how about My Jack Music?
I'm not sure if My Jack exists anymore. It's a publishing company. It was a publishing company.
But you're not sure it exists now?
I'm not positive.
Did it exist at the time that Thriller was distributed as an album?
I think so.
And the same is true when We Are the World was distributed?
I'm not sure, sir.
Was My Jack or is My Jack your publishing company, music publishing company?
Is it my publishing company?
Was it when it was in existence,
yes.
or whether it is still in
Yes.
existence, your publishing company?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't know whether it still exists?
I'm not sure.
Do you know when My Jack Music was formed?
No.
But when it was in existence, it was wholly owned by you?
Yes.
Did you have a publishing company for My Jack?
I think My Jack was the first one.
Okay. Do you now have another publishing company now?
Yes.
What is the name of that publishing company?
Well, there's ATV Music.
ATV Music?
Yes.
Okay. And it's a publishing company?
Yes.
I'll try not to repeat some of the things that have been asked you. Was there a time that you were the lead singer of the Jackson 5?
Yes.
And was that during the time that the Jackson 5 was under recording contract to Motown?
We were in the Jackson 5 Before signing with Motown.
But you were the lead singer during the time that the Jackson 5 was signed to Motown.
Yes.
And then, was there a time that the Jackson 5 became the Jacksons?
Yes.
Were you the lead singer of the group known as the Jacksons?
Yes.
Would the time when the Jackson 5 became known as the Jacksons, would that have been around 1976, 77?
I'm not sure.
Was there a time when the Jacksons were signed under a recording agreement to CBS?
Yes.
And you were still a member of the Jacksons at that time?
Yes.
Was there a time when you became just strike that, was there a time when you recorded separately from the Jacksons under contract with CBS?
Yes.
Let me show you a document and ask you if you've ever seen it before.
Show it to Connell. Thank you.
Could you tell us what that document is?
Looks like a recording contract.
Would you, what is the date in the right-hand corner, page 1?
November 1st, 1978.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that that's an agreement between the Jackson 5 Inc. and Quincy Jones Productions?
No.
You ever seen that before?
I probably have, but I don't remember. I signed a million papers.
I'm sure. Let me ask you to turn to the last page. You recognize the signatures on the right side underneath the Jackson 5 Inc.?
Yes.
Can you tell us what whose signatures those are?
The first one looks like Joseph Jackson. It's kind of hard to see. The second one looks like Michael Jackson.
And does that look like your signature?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
The other one looks like Quincy Jones.
okay, thank you. And go back to page 1, paragraph numbered 1. Could you read the last sentence in that paragraph, please?
We shall provide that Epic shall not have any other person remix.
No, I'm sorry, page 1, paragraph 1, number 1, the last sentence.
Paragraph 1, number 1, the last sentence.
Right.
It's right here, isn't it?
Starts out the time.
Paragraph, I'm sorry. The time and place of recording such masters, the selection of compositions to be embodied thereon, and all individuals rendering services in connection but the recording of the masters shall be mutually agreed upon by you and artists.
Okay. Now, was this the agreement that was signed with Quincy Jones Productions for the production of your first solo album? Now, do you recall, Mr. Jackson, that this was the, and I'm interested in refreshing your recollection about the time, November 1st, 1978.
Okay.
Would this have been about the time that you were signed to do your first solo album?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
No.
Okay. Do you remember what year it was that your brothers and you signed with CBS as the Jacksons?
No.
Now, I picked up that agreement again, and I want to look at paragraph. You've been in the record business for quite some time, have you not?
Quite some time.
And do you understand that second sentence in paragraph 1 to say that when it says selection of the compositions, do you know what that means?
Sure.
What does that mean?
The selections choosing the songs.
Right, and that means, and does that mean that this agreement says that the choice of the right to choose the songs is between you and Quincy Jones mutually?
Mutual agreement, yes.
Right. Okay.
We do it together.
All right. Now, I'm going to ask you to do one more thing with this document, and then we can leave it alone. Look down at the bottom of the first page, it's paragraph 2, the last sentence, right after the part that's been inked out.
Yes.
Could you read that, please?
We shall provide that Epic shall not have any other person remix or re-edit any masters produced by you hereunder without first providing you with a reasonable opportunity to perform such remixing and or re-editing as Epic shall require.
Now, what do you understand that to mean?
Well, let me read it again. Well, it says without providing a reasonable opportunity to perform such remixing and or re-editing as Epic shall require. It's just saying that Epic, that it's between Quincy and myself to remix or re-edit the songs on the album. And if any other outside person comes in and wants to work on the album, it has to be in agreement with us.
Right now, in your experience in the record business, would it be fair to say that under this agreement, Epic would have final approval on the mix, on the edit?
To the
Is that
comments,
true, Mr.
argumentative.
Jackson? Doesn't the record company always have the right to approve the mix and the edit
Objection.
on the final master?
Not the final.
When you deliver a master to the record company, can they reject it?
Can they what?
Reject it?
They can reject it.
That's fine. That's all I wanted to know.
I don't get what this has to do with.
Now, under the Jacksons' first contract with CBS as recording artist, do you recall whether or not the Jacksons had the right to, under that contract, to provide or to supply music or to produce a certain number of songs per album?
Under the Epic contract?
Yes.
I'm not positive, but I think we had the right to 3 songs per album.
Do you recall who produced the first CBS album on the Jacksons?
Yes.
Who was that?
Gamble and Huff.
And you recall how many tunes you're saying 3 that the Jacksons had the right to provide on that album?
I sang 3 that the Jacksons.
Did you just say 3 or?
In writing.
Yes.
In writing 3, yes, that me and my brothers. I'm not positive, but as I think.
All right, you say in writing, but is there a difference then? You're saying that the contract provided that you had 3, but in reality you only had, you had another number? Is that what you're saying now?
No, it was the way you worded it that confused me.
Well, what I'm trying to find out is, on the first album of the Jacksons, under the CBS contract, how many tunes did you have the right to provide on that album? You remember?
I think it was 3.
You think it was 3. Now, did that mean that you had the right to write 3 tunes, find 3 tunes from somebody else, or what did that mean?
Write 3 tunes.
Okay. And did the Jacksons write 3 tunes on that album?
Yes, we did.
Do you recall the name of that album, the first album?
I think. I'm not
Would it have been Going Places?
It could
that
have
the
been.
first name?
Or Destiny. I'm not sure.
Now, how did, if you had the contractual right to have so many songs on the album, and let's say 2 or 3, do you recall how many songs that you guys wrote for that album?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. Normally, in your experience in the business, if you're going to have so many tunes on an album, how many songs would you put together for final selection?
How many songs would we write for the album?
If you had a right to provide 2 or 3, how many songs do you think you would have normally put together?
Oh, gee. 15.
Now, of those, let's assume 15, were all those written by the Jacksons?
Objection.
No outside writers?
No outside writers.
Do you recall a tune named Blues Away?
Yes,
Who wrote that?
I wrote that one.
Was that solely by yourself or with your brother Randy?
Solely by myself, as I remember.
How about a song called Different Kind of Lady?
What about it?
Do you recall that song?
Yes.
Who wrote it?
I think it was credited as the Jacksons.
Who wrote it?
Gee. Jackie, myself, Randy, Tito. I think we all wrote it. We all wrote it.
By the way, did you guys have a publishing company at that time?
Yes.
What was the name of the publishing company?
I'm not sure.
Was the publishing company owned by the Jackson 5?
Yes.
Was Blues Away the first song that you'd ever written that was recorded?
No.
Had you written songs previously that were recorded before Blues Away?
Oh, yes.
Can you name some of those songs that you had written and were recorded and released?
That's different. That's different.
Well, let me go back then. Was Blues Away the first song that you had written that was recorded and released?
Yes.
Well, we saved ourselves a lot of
We
time
sure
there.
did.
Now, do you recall the name of the second album that was recorded by the Jacksons under the CBS agreement?
Gee, I'm not positive. I don't know if it was Triumph or Destiny or Going Places. I'm not sure what order.
Do you recall that were all the songs provided for that album by the Jacksons? I mean the second CBS album. You understand my question?
What's the name of the album?
Well, what if I told you it was Destiny? Would that sound inaccurate?
I'm not positive.
All right, for the Destiny album, then, do you recall how many songs were there any songs provided by outside writers on Destiny?
I'm not sure.
Do you recall who produced Destiny?
The Jacksons produced Destiny.
Would it be safe to assume that the Jacksons produced it and they had a right to provide all the songs on that album?
I'm not sure.
Do you know a woman named Regina Hooks?
I've heard of the name, but I can't place the face.
Did she provide any songs for the Destiny album?
Not that I know of.
Has she provided any songs for any of the Jacksons' albums?
I don't even know who she is.
If she had provided a song that was used on one of the albums when it was released, she would have been given credit? Is it speculation, Mr. Jackson, to assume that if someone wrote a song for one of your albums that they would get credit?
Of course they would get credit.
It's not speculation, is it?
If someone wrote a song, we would be honest and give them credit.
No. In fact, it's your policy, right, Mr. Jackson, that whenever a musician or someone provides help on a song or the bridge or something like that in the arrangement, they get credit, don't they? Now, the other day you testified that you've written and published 30 to 40 tunes as a songwriter. Is that right?
Something like that. I don't know the exact number. I've never counted.
Okay.
I don't count them.
So when you write a song, that song is and it's not co-written by anybody else, excuse me, with anyone else or collaborated with. It's written solely by you. It's your independent work, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
There's a song that you write that you take sole credit for.
Yes.
Your independent creation. By you and you only.
Yes.
And you don't, do you include common musical phrases in your songs that you write?
Common musical phrases?
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, but I don't know if you know what it means.
Let me ask you. Why don't you tell us what it is?
I don't
What's
know.
a common musical phrase?
A common musical phrase?
Yes.
A musical phrase could mean a note, a tone.
You ever heard the term common musical phrase before?
Yes, but the way you put it in your question, it was different. So I wasn't sure if I understood what you meant.
Okay, well, let me ask you. Could you tell us what a common musical phrase is?
A common musical phrase.
That's a common musical phrase.
That could be a common musical phrase.
Have you ever heard the term scenes of fair?
Pardon?
Scenes of fair. Have you ever heard that term before?
Scenes, spell it.
S-C-E-N-E-S.
Yeah,
Little line.
right.
Affair.
Spell it.
A-F-A-I-R-E. Have you ever heard the term
Scenes
before?
affair. No, I never heard that.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question again. I mean, I'm not sure your answer was clear to me. Maybe I've missed it. When you write a song, that's your sole song that you take credit for by yourself.
Yes.
Do you use, is that song independently created by you? Do you understand the question, Ms. Jackson?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Songs that I take credit for on my albums that say written by Michael Jackson are written by Michael Jackson.
And Michael Jackson alone, right?
Michael Jackson alone. I wouldn't cheat anybody out of credit.
I'm not suggesting you cheat anybody on anything, sir.
I mean, I'm an
just
honest
asking you a question.
person.
I'm going to ask you a question, give you a list of songs, and I'm going to ask you some questions about each one of them.
Okay.
You ever heard of a song called She's Not a Girl?
Yes,
Who wrote it?
I wrote it.
Was it released?
Pardon?
Was it recorded and released?
It was recorded but never released. It's a
How about
demo.
Pardon me?
It's a demo that I did, I think, at the Encino House.
Do you know what year?
No.
How about a song called You Ain't Gonna Change Nothing?
I wrote that.
Was that released?
No.
How about Lucy is in Love with Linus?
I wrote that.
Released?
Never released.
Who is the girl with her hair down?
I wrote that.
Released?
Never released.
Lonely Man.
I wrote that.
Released?
Never released.
Going to Rio?
Going where?
Going to Rio.
Going to Rio. I wrote that.
Released?
Never released.
Recall when you wrote it?
No, but it was before Thriller. Before Off the Wall.
Tomboy.
I wrote that.
Released?
Never released.
You know when you wrote it?
I wrote Tomboy for the Bad album. That was after Thriller. So I don't know the dates.
Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill was written after I wrote Billie Jean. So that was written after the Thriller album.
Released?
Yes. Never released.
Al Capone.
Al Capone was written after the Thriller album. Never released.
Michael McKellar?
Michael McKellar?
Yes.
How do you know about Michael McKellar? I wrote Michael McKellar.
You wrote it?
Yes.
Released?
Never released.
Thank You for Life?
Thank You for Life. I wrote that.
You know when?
Thank You for Life was written, boy, way before Off the Wall. I don't know the date, but it had to be around, if I could guess. Would you like for me to guess?
No, I don't want you to guess.
Okay, then I can't say.
Was it ever released?
Never released.
Much Too Soon.
I wrote Much Too Soon.
Released?
Never released.
What a Lonely Way to Go?
I wrote that one.
You know when?
Before Off the Wall.
Released.
Never released.
Who do you know?
I wrote Who Do You Know?
Released.
Never released.
You Are a Liar.
I wrote You're a Liar.
Released.
Never released.
Cry.
I wrote Cry.
Released.
Never released.
Make a Wish.
I can't recall that one. Just give me a minute. I can't recall that one.
Crack Kills.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Free.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Fly Away.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Children's Hour. The Children's Hour.
I wrote that one.
Was that released?
Never released.
Baby Smiles.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
A Baby Smiles.
I wrote that one. Same one.
Sister Sue.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Little Susie.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Tragedy of a Cheerleader.
Tragedy of a Cheerleader. I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Get Around.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Little Girls.
I can't recall that one.
In the Valley.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Can you hold on a second? No, Little Girls, I do remember. Yes, I wrote that one. Never released.
And In the Valley.
I wrote that one.
Was that released?
Never released.
Red Eye.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
I Forgive You.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Why Shy.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
I Have This Love of Me.
I wrote that one.
Was that released?
Never released.
Lama Lola.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
California Grass.
I wrote that one.
Released.
Never released.
Kentucky.
I wrote that one.
You know when you wrote that one?
'70-something, but I don't remember exactly.
Someone put your hand down.
I wrote that one.
Released.
That one has an interesting story. I wrote the original, and then it was changed, in which I co-wrote it with Teddy Riley. And it was released, but through some type of Pepsi contest, a limited edition of it was released.
Do you know what year that was?
I think it was last year, wasn't it? I think.
Okay, do you know where your children are?
I wrote that one.
Was that released?
Never released.
Bad Girl?
I wrote that one.
Released?
Never released.
Lonely Bird?
I wrote that one.
Released?
Never released.
Smooth Criminal?
I wrote that one.
Released?
Yes.
What album?
The Bad album.
PYT, the original version.
I wrote that one with Greg Fillinganes.
Do you know what year that was?
No.
Cheater?
I wrote that one. I wrote that one. I co-wrote that one.
Was it released?
Never released.
People have to make some kind of joke?
I wrote that one.
Released?
Never released.
Is that co-written?
I don't think so. I'm not positive. It could have been co-written with my brother, but I'm not positive. I think I wrote that one myself.
Love Never Felt So Good?
I wrote that.
Released?
Never released.
You have a co-writer?
Give me a minute to think. I'm not positive on that. It could have been a co-writer on that one.
Would have been Paul Anka?
Could have been, yes.
All Right Now?
I wrote that.
Solely or co-written?
I think I wrote that with my brother.
Was it ever released?
No.
Scared of the Moon?
Yes.
Scared of the Moon?
Never been released. Co-written.
With Buzz Cohan?
Yes.
Neverland Landing?
Co-written.
Released?
Never released.
We Are the Ones?
I wrote that one.
Co-written or written solely?
Solely.
Released?
Never released.
What Was Your Life?
What's Your Life? It's called What's Your Life?
Okay.
Wrote that with my brother Jermaine.
Released?
Never released.
Fantasy.
Co-written with my brother.
Released.
Never released.
The Sky is the Limit.
Co-written.
With whom?
My brother.
Released.
Never released.
Saved by the Bell.
Co-written with my brother.
Released.
Never released.
Chicago, 1945.
Co-written.
Released.
Never released.
Make or Break.
Co-written.
Released.
Never released.
Turning Me Off.
I wrote that co-written.
Released.
Never released.
Sunset Driver.
Co-written.
Released.
Never released.
Far, Far Away.
I wrote that.
Released.
Never released.
Did you have a co-writer on that one?
Not that I can remember.
State of Shock.
Released. Co-written.
Get on the Floor.
Released. Co-written.
Let me ask you about PYT. Well, before I ask you that, of these songs that I've just asked you about that have never been released, do you recall how far back they go in terms of time when you first wrote them?
Some of them.
What would you say is the furthest one that goes, the one that goes back the furthest?
Thank You for Life.
What year?
'73, '74, something like that.
Now, were these songs, when you wrote them, you would go back to them from time to time? Do you understand my question, Jack?
When I wrote them, would I go back to them time
Yeah, well,
to
let me ask you this. What form would they, when you write them, what form would they be in? Would they be in the form of lead sheets? Would they be in the form of notes? Or would they be on a cassette?
In writing, you mean pen to paper?
Right.
God, I've written things on toilet paper. It could be anything.
Right,
Whatever's the closest around. I've
Right,
written on
now-
walls.
The other day that you testified that when you write, you hum them, or hum the songs or the rhythms into a tape.
That's right.
I'm asking you now, the songs that I've just read you that are not released, or have not been released.
That's right.
Are those maintained in the form of a cassette?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Of the songs that I've just read you that were unreleased, how many of those would you say that are in cassette form?
Most of them are on cassette.
And where are those maintained? Are they maintained in your collection?
Yes.
Now, the one song that we just talked about that was just done last year, if you recall, for the Pepsi project or somebody's project. I'll lay my hands on it.
Someone put your hand out.
I believe it was called Someone Put Your Hand Down,
And out.
right? That was, original was changed, you say, it was co-written with Teddy Riley.
Yes.
Was it originally co-written with Teddy Riley?
No.
So then, was it in that form, a cassette form, and you went back and pulled it out and dressed it up with Teddy, and you just did things to it?
Yes. I wrote it originally years ago, then poured it out, and Teddy loved it, I loved it, and we made some changes. Just changed the verse. And I gave him co-writer's credit.
Okay. Now, we've talked a lot about your collection. Let's try to nail this down. Is that the collection that you've maintained at your home for a very long time? Do you understand my question?
Collection that I've maintained a long time.
Yep. You understand my question, Mr. Jackson?
Repeat your question.
The collection that we've talked about.
These songs.
Right. These songs.
The songs.
Right. And the cassettes that you've written that you go back to from time to time. We've loosely called it a collection. It was your choice of words, a collection. I'm asking you, were these songs maintained in that collection at your home, one central location?
Yes.
Right. Mr. Jackson, let me read you another list of songs and ask you pretty much the same kind of questions. Whether they were released and what other issues that may come up on each one of them. The song Blues Away we just covered, but just for the sake of putting it in its own little pigeonhole with the others. Would you recall when Blues Away was released?
No.
You know, do you recall when Blues Away was released?
No, I don't.
But that was the first song that you had written that was released, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. Was that tune released?
Yes.
Do you recall what year?
It was on the Off the Wall album. So 79, was it?
Did Greg Gaines do something on that song?
Yes. The bridge. Da 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 da. He
Yeah.
created that.
Okay. Was he given credit for that on that album or that song?
Yes, he was.
What was that, co-arranging or arranging or co-written?
Arranging, just arranging.
Working Day and Night?
What about it?
When was that released?
That's the Off the Wall album again. I think 79, not sure.
Want to Be Starting Something? Was that written by you?
Yes.
What year was that released?
That was for the Thriller album, so that would be, I think, 83.
Billie Jean, was that written by you?
Yes.
And was that released?
Yes, Billie Jean was released.
What album was that?
Thriller album.
Beat It? Is that released?
That was released.
Written by you.
I wrote Beat It also, yes.
What album was that?
That was the Thriller album.
The Girl Is Mine?
Yes,
You wrote that?
yes.
And was that released?
That was released.
Which album?
Thriller album. First single. Duet.
I Just Can't Stop Loving You? Was
Yes.
that released?
Yes,
Was it written by you?
yes.
What album?
Bad album.
And Bad, was that written by you?
Yes.
What album?
Bad album.
Do you recall the year?
No.
Beg your pardon?
No.
No. The Way You Make Me Feel, did you write that?
Yes.
Was that released?
Yes.
What album?
Bad.
Dirty Diana?
I wrote Dirty Diana.
Was that released?
Yes.
What album?
Bad.
Speed Demon, did you write that?
Yes.
What album did it appear on?
Bad album.
Liberian Girl, did you write that?
Yes.
And was that released?
Yes.
What album?
Bad album.
Muscles, did you write that?
Yes.
Was that released?
Yes.
By whom?
Diana Ross.
What year? Do you know?
I don't remember.
Another Part of Me?
Yes.
Did you write that?
Yes.
And was that released?
Yes.
What album do you recall?
It was first release for Captain EO, which was a short film. I think it was for the Bad album.
Was there a later version of PYT?
Yes.
Do you know who wrote that?
James Ingram and Quincy Jones.
Did you get co-writer's credit on that one?
No, because I didn't write that one. I wrote the original with Greg Fillinganes.
What happened to the original?
Quincy wanted a fast song. Mine was mid-tempo.
Now, I'm going to ask you, of the following songs, and I'll read them rather quickly. I'll ask you one question about them. Let me read them first. Cheater. People Have to Make Some Kind of Joke. Love Never Felt So Good. All Right Now. Scared of the Moon. Neverland Landing. We Are the Ones. What's Your Life? Fantasy. The Sky is the Limit. Saved by the Bell. Chicago 145.
1940.
1945. You'll say 145? 1945. Of those songs, and excuse me, let me add Sunset Driver, Far, Far Away, and State of Shock. Are those songs in the portfolio of a publishing company? You understand the question?
The first time you asked me about Far, Far Away, did I tell you I didn't remember it?
You said you couldn't remember whether you wrote that yourself or it was co-written.
I remember it now. It was co-written.
Do you know the publishing company is on those songs?
No.
Is it your publishing company?
Yes, but I don't know the name.
You ever written a song called Centipede?
Yes.
You know when?
I don't remember.
You don't remember what year?
No. Co-wrote it.
With whom?
With whom?
Yes.
John Barnes.
Was it released?
Yes.
Did your sister Maureen sing it?
Yes.
Do you know a woman named Joyce McCrae?
Joyce McCrae. I think so.
Did she ever work for you?
I don't think so.
Did she ever work for Motown?
I don't think so.
Pardon me?
I don't think so.
Do you have a song in your collection about that time by Sam and Dave called I'm a Soul Man?
I don't know if I bought that or not. I buy a lot of records, but I don't know if that was one of the ones I
Do you know whether you bought I'm a Soul Man or about the time you wrote Centipede?
Gee, I wouldn't know.
I beg your pardon?
I wouldn't know.
Ever hear of a song called You Were There?
You Were There.
I'll join.
Sure. I wrote it with Buzz Cohen for Sammy Davis Jr.
Was that for the 60th anniversary celebration for Sammy Davis?
Yes.
You remember when you and Buzz Cohen wrote it?
No.
Was the answer was that no? You don't
Yes.
remember?
No, I don't.
You remember what year?
No.
You remember where you and he were when you wrote that song?
Yes. I don't know the exact location. It's a place like the Shrine Auditorium. It could have been the Shrine. I'm not sure.
You wrote it with him at the Shrine.
Yes.
Is that also in the portfolio of your publishing company?
Yes.
Now, when you began work on your first album, first solo album, which was later to be called Off the Wall, did you have a stockpile of songs that you had written to be submitted for that album?
For the album,
Off the Wall.
did I have a stockpile of songs that I've written for the album Off the Wall?
That you had written that you were submitting for the album.
When I write songs for an album, for instance, I'll write 50 to 60 songs for just one album, just for 9 songs, you know, and I'll pick from those.
Did you write 50, 60 songs for Off the Wall?
Yes, a lot of songs.
Can you think of any?
You named a lot of them.
A lot of them that were on the list that I named just a moment ago?
Some of them were.
Some of them. How many of those, what was the procedure that you and Quincy Jones employed to select songs for that album?
I'd write the song, do a demo, and play it for him. He'd say if he'd like it or not. And most likely he'd love it, and we would record it.
How many songs did you have on the album, Off the Wall?
I'm not sure, but I think it's 9.
How many of those 9 were yours that you wrote?
Don't stop till you get enough. Get on the floor. Working day and night. 3 or 4, I'm not sure.
How many did, of the 3 or 4, strike that, 4 of the Off the Wall album, how many of your songs that you had written did you and Quincy consider for that album?
I don't remember.
A moment moment ago you said you'd write 50 songs, about 50 songs for a 9-song album.
That's right.
Did you present or consider with Quincy 50 songs for that album?
No.
Now, did you and Quincy consider songs by outside writers on the Off the Wall album?
Oh boy, yes, She's Out of My Life was written by Tom Baylor, who I've known for years and years, and is an old friend.
Any other outside writers?
Paul McCartney. That's all I can think of.
Did Rod Temperton submit some tunes for that album?
Oh yeah, he wrote Off the Wall, Rock With You, Burn This Disco Out, something like that. Can't think of any others.
When did you first meet Rod Temperton?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No. I meet so many people.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I meet so many people.
Well, you did meet Rod Temperton during the course of the Off the Wall project, did you not?
Yes.
Was that the first time you met?
Yes.
Would that have been sometime in 1978, 79?
I'm not sure.
Mr. Jackson, between the Off the Wall album and the Thriller album, did you meet with Rod Temperton in a hotel in London?
Hotel in London. Sorry, I don't remember that.
Now, Rod Temperton submitted some songs for the Thriller album.
I think it's those three. This is something I'm leaving out.
Was there a song called Rolling of the Dice?
Yes, Rolling the Dice, that we did a demo on at Havenhurst, but we never released it. We didn't think it was strong enough.
Was there another song called Hot Street?
Yeah, I like Hot Street. I love that one, but they didn't. Quincy and Rod didn't think it was good enough. I thought it was wonderful.
Now then, you recall when Mr. Temperton, for the Thriller album?
No, I don't.
Do you recall where it was that you first heard the songs that he brought for the Thriller album?
Yes.
Where were you?
Encino House.
At your residence?
Yes, my studio.
And who was present?
Quincy Jones, Rod Temperton, Bruce Swedien, and myself.
Who was Bruce Swedien?
Bruce Swedien is the engineer.
When he and Quincy came to your studio to present the songs?
He played on cassette, which we went into my, I think it was Quincy's car or my van, and because we don't have a cassette machine system in my studio, but he came with a keyboard, and in the keyboard it's his performances of the different sounds. He can MIDI those sounds and put them up on tape on the 24 track and put them on tape, and it was a way of testing to see if I liked the songs or not with my voice, trying different harmonies, trying the songs. Like I said, we did Thriller, which was called Give Me Some Starlight, Starlight Sun, Starlight, Starlight Sun. That's how it went. So it was a way of just testing, you know,
Right, now,
what I wanted to do.
Okay, now, he laid the structure of the various songs out in front of you, and you recorded, you sung each one of them. Is that correct?
Yes,
And among the songs you sung was the one, Starlight.
right.
Did you make any changes to that, Starlight?
Yeah, the lyrics and the title, and we added Vincent Price's voice. We changed it into Thriller. Well, he did ask me which would I like better, to be a song about, you know, let the sun shine in type of thing, or Thriller. And I thought kids would enjoy something more fun like Thriller, so we went with the Thriller idea.
Did you change Starlight musically?
Yeah, somewhat. Musically it was the same, but we added other sounds and things like that.
After you made the changes, do you know whether or not Mr. Temperton created a lead sheet for what was now Thriller?
I don't think he reads music. He doesn't use a lead sheet.
Did Quincy Jones create a lead sheet for what was now Thriller?
I don't think so. At least I didn't see one.
Right? Did you sang the other songs as